Thank you for having me here today. Be strong alone, those are powerful words and they may sound intimidating, but today I want to show you that they're also empowering. Being strong alone isn't about pushing people away or living in isolation. It's about building an unbreakable inner strength, a strength that can hold you up no matter what comes your way. I want to share 3 ideas that will help you build that strength. And not just any strength, but the kind of strength that will let you stand tall, even when you're standing alone. Building self-reliance is one of the most empowering actions anyone can take to lead a more fulfilled and resilient life. Self-reliance is the ability to depend on oneself, to trust one's own judgment, and to feel capable of tackling life's challenges without constantly relying on others. It's not about isolating oneself or refusing support from others, but rather cultivating a strength within that enables a person to stand strong, even when standing alone. In a world where it's common to seek approval, guidance, and even validation from others, developing self-reliance allows us to create a foundation of confidence and security that no external circumstance can shake. Self-reliance begins with learning to trust our own judgment. In many situations, we often seek out the opinions of others, hoping for validation, reassurance, or advice. While it's natural to want guidance, constantly relying on external input can weaken our ability to make choices for ourselves. When we rely too much on others to make decisions, we risk losing touch with our inner voice, which is our true guide. Developing self-reliance involves tuning into that voice, listening to our own thoughts, desires, and instincts. By making our own decisions, we not only learn from the outcomes, but also begin to understand what truly matters to us. With each decision we make independently, we build confidence in our judgment, which creates a ripple effect on other areas of our lives. Another essential aspect of self-reliance is resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and challenges are inevitable. When we're self-reliant, we're better equipped to handle these challenges because we don't crumble when there's no one to lean on. Instead, we tap into our inner resources, finding ways to solve problems and overcome obstacles. This resilience isn't something we're born with, it's something we develop through experience. Each time we encounter difficulty and face it on our own, we strengthen our inner resolve. Over time, we come to understand that no challenge is too great to handle, that no setback is final, and that we have what it takes to move forward, no matter how difficult the road may seem. Self-reliance also fosters a deeper sense of personal responsibility. When we depend on ourselves, we recognize that we're accountable for our choices, actions, and outcomes. This accountability helps us take control of our lives and avoid the blame game. If things don't go as planned, we don't waste time pointing fingers or blaming external factors. Instead, we look inward, reflect on what we could have done differently, and make adjustments for the future. This proactive approach not only boosts our sense of agency, but also empowers us to learn and grow continuously. We realize that our life's direction is in our hands, which is both a responsibility and a gift. In addition to personal responsibility, self-reliance builds self-confidence. Each time we face and overcome a challenge on our own, we gain a deeper belief in our capabilities. Confidence doesn't come from praise or validation from others, it comes from knowing deep down that we are capable. When we've proven to ourselves that we can handle difficult situations, take risks, and bounce back from setbacks, we begin to trust in our abilities. This self-confidence is incredibly liberating because it frees us from the constant need for approval from others. Instead of seeking validation externally, we find it within, which makes us more resilient and less susceptible to doubt or discouragement. Self-reliance also allows us to pursue goals that are aligned with our true passions and values. When we're not reliant on others' opinions or approval, we have the freedom to chase what truly excites and fills us. This autonomy allows us to live a more authentic life, driven by our own dreams and desires rather than the expectations of others. Often, people get stuck in a cycle of living for others, trying to meet societal expectations, family standards, or the norms of their peer groups. Self-reliance helps break this cycle, giving us the clarity and courage to follow our own path. This doesn't mean we stop caring about others, but rather that we prioritize our own growth and happiness. Developing self-reliance doesn't mean we reject support or become isolated. In fact, self-reliance often enhances our relationships. When we are strong and secure in ourselves, we're able to connect with others from a place of wholeness, not neediness. Our relationships become richer because we're not dependent on others to make us feel complete or validated. Instead, we choose to connect with others out of genuine appreciation and respect. Moreover, when others see our self-reliance, they're often inspired by it. We become a source of strength for those around us, encouraging them to find their own inner strength. In conclusion, building self-reliance is one of the most valuable steps a person can take toward personal empowerment and growth. Self-reliance creates a foundation of inner strength, confidence, and resilience that enables us to navigate life's inevitable challenges with grace and determination. By learning to trust our judgment, embracing personal responsibility, and developing a resilient mindset, we become better equipped to handle whatever life throws our way. Self-reliance isn't about distancing ourselves from others, it's about building a relationship with ourselves that is so strong and so unshakable that no circumstance can disrupt it. In the end, self-reliance allows us to live a more fulfilling, authentic life driven by our own values, dreams, and aspirations. So let us strive to build self-reliance, not as a way to isolate ourselves, but as a way to empower ourselves to stand strong, even if we have to stand alone. Embracing solitude as growth time is a powerful step towards self-discovery, resilience, and long-term fulfillment. In our fast-paced, hyper-connected world, we often think of solitude as something to avoid or fear. Many people associate being alone with loneliness, boredom, or a lack of connection, but solitude, when embraced as intentional time for growth, offers some of life's richest opportunities for personal transformation. Solitude doesn't mean cutting ourselves off from others, rather. It involves creating intentional moments for reflection, clarity, and personal development. By embracing solitude as a time for growth, we grant ourselves the freedom to explore who we truly are, what we genuinely want, and how we can navigate life with greater purpose and self-awareness. In solitude, we gain the opportunity to think deeply without distraction. In the presence of others, our thoughts can be influenced by external expectations, social norms, or even the moods of those around us. However, when we are alone, we have the space to explore our innermost thoughts and feelings freely. This process of introspection is essential because it allows us to confront the areas of our lives that require attention. We might become aware of habits that no longer serve us, patterns in relationships that may need adjustment, or goals that we've neglected. Solitude provides a mirror, reflecting our authentic self back to us, unfiltered by external noise. This mirror often reveals the truth of who we are and who we aspire to become, helping us make conscious choices that align with our true values. One of the most powerful aspects of solitude is the clarity it brings. When we're constantly surrounded by people, technology, and obligations, our minds become cluttered, making it challenging to see our lives from a fresh perspective. Solitude allows us to step back from daily responsibilities and look at the bigger picture. With this clarity, we can identify our goals, priorities, and aspirations more effectively. We gain insight into where we're heading and whether that direction aligns with what truly fulfills us. This clarity is essential for setting meaningful goals and making intentional decisions about the life we want to create. When we understand our path, we're less likely to get sidetracked by distractions or swayed by the opinions of others. Instead, we can pursue our goals with greater focus and determination. Furthermore, solitude helps us develop self-acceptance. In moments of aloneness, we're confronted with ourselves, our thoughts, emotions, strengths, and weaknesses. Learning to sit with ourselves without judgment fosters self-compassion and self-acceptance, helping us embrace both our strengths and our flaws. We come to understand that it's okay to have fears, insecurities, and imperfections. They're part of being human. As we grow more comfortable with who we are, we begin to view ourselves with greater kindness, allowing us to pursue personal growth without the weight of self-criticism. This self-acceptance is a cornerstone of emotional resilience, helping us bounce back from challenges and stay rooted in our own worth, regardless of external circumstances. Another powerful benefit of embracing solitude as growth time is the development of creativity. Many of history's greatest thinkers, artists, and innovators have recognized the value of solitude in fostering original ideas. When we're alone, we're free to explore thoughts and ideas without fear of judgment or distraction. Our minds can wander, connect seemingly unrelated concepts, and allow creativity to flourish. In solitude, we're more likely to engage in activities that promote creativity, like journaling, brainstorming, or simply daydreaming. These activities allow us to tap into our unique perspective and generate ideas that may never surface in a crowded or noisy environment. Over time, embracing solitude helps us cultivate a wellspring of creativity, enabling us to approach challenges in new and innovative ways. Solitude also strengthens our ability to manage emotions effectively. When we're alone, we're more attuned to our emotional state and can process emotions without external influence. Whether we're feeling joy, sadness, frustration, or excitement, solitude allows us to understand and work through these emotions on our own terms. In these moments, we learn to sit with uncomfortable feelings rather than avoid them, which helps us build emotional resilience. We begin to realize that we have the inner resources to cope with difficult emotions, and we become less reliant on external sources for comfort or validation. This emotional maturity enables us to handle future challenges with greater composure, knowing we can manage our emotions independently. In addition to emotional resilience, solitude fosters a sense of inner peace. When we embrace solitude, we disconnect from the chaos of daily life and reconnect with ourselves. This time alone becomes a refuge from the pressures of society, allowing us to find peace within. In moments of solitude, we can engage in practices like meditation, deep breathing, or simply observing nature, which bring a sense of calm and balance. Over time, we become more centered and grounded, able to carry this inner peace with us into interactions with others and the demands of everyday life. Inner peace strengthens our resilience and helps us approach situations with a calm and steady mind. By using solitude as a time for growth, we also build greater self-confidence. As we get to know ourselves better, we begin to trust in our abilities and judgments. Solitude teaches us to listen to our intuition, enabling us to make decisions that reflect our true desires. We're no longer swayed by others' opinions or dependent on external validation, because we know who we are and what we stand for. This confidence radiates into every area of our lives, from career choices to personal relationships. When we trust ourselves, we're more likely to pursue opportunities and goals that align with our authentic selves, leading to greater fulfillment and success. In conclusion, embracing solitude as growth time is a transformative practice that leads to clarity, self-acceptance, creativity, emotional resilience, inner peace, and self-confidence. It's a chance to deepen our relationship with ourselves, free from the distractions and expectations of the outside world. Solitude allows us to see ourselves clearly, to nurture our inner resources, and to build a foundation of strength that supports us in every aspect of life. By choosing to view solitude as a time for growth, we unlock our potential and gain a sense of fulfillment that no external factor can provide. Rather than fearing solitude, let us welcome it as a valuable ally on our journey to self-discovery and personal growth. Developing emotional resilience is one of the most valuable life skills a person can attain. Emotional resilience is the ability to adapt to stressful situations, overcome obstacles, and bounce back from adversity. It doesn't mean that we don't feel pain, frustration, or disappointment. Rather, it means that we've learned how to navigate these emotions effectively without being overwhelmed. Life is full of challenges, and developing emotional resilience gives us the strength to endure them and even grow from them. It's a skill that allows us to stay grounded and focused even in the face of life's inevitable ups and downs. One of the first steps in building emotional resilience is learning to understand and accept our emotions. Too often, people are taught to suppress their feelings, seeing emotions like sadness, fear, or anger as signs of weakness. However, emotional resilience isn't about ignoring difficult emotions, it's about facing and working through them. When we allow ourselves to acknowledge what we feel, we're better able to process those emotions in a healthy way. Understanding our emotions is the foundation of emotional intelligence, and it enables us to handle stress without allowing it to consume us. Recognizing and accepting our emotions also helps us identify what might trigger certain feelings, allowing us to address the root cause rather than just dealing with the surface symptoms. Once we understand our emotions, the next step is to manage them constructively. This often involves reframing negative thoughts. Resilient individuals tend to have a growth mindset. They view challenges as opportunities to learn rather than threats. When faced with setbacks, instead of seeing them as failures, emotionally resilient people view them as learning experiences. They ask themselves what they can gain from the situation and how it might strengthen them in the future. This doesn't mean ignoring the negative aspects of a situation, but rather balancing them with a constructive perspective. This type of thinking helps us remain hopeful and positive, even during tough times, which is a vital aspect of emotional resilience. Another important element of emotional resilience is the ability to regulate our responses. When faced with stress, it's natural to feel an urge to react impulsively, whether that means lashing out in anger, retreating in fear, or engaging in unhealthy coping mechanisms. However, emotionally resilient people learn to pause, breathe, and consider their response. Practicing mindfulness is a helpful tool in this regard. By being present and aware of our thoughts and emotions, we gain the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. Mindfulness allows us to take a step back, assess the situation, and choose a response that aligns with our values and long-term well-being. Over time, this practice builds inner strength, helping us to face challenges with greater composure and control. Building emotional resilience also requires cultivating self-compassion. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, particularly when we're facing difficulties. People who are emotionally resilient don't beat themselves up when things go wrong. Instead, they acknowledge their struggles and give themselves permission to feel vulnerable. They understand that failure and setbacks are a normal part of life and that everyone experiences hardship. By practicing self-compassion, we learn to be gentler with ourselves, which helps reduce the stress and anxiety that come with difficult situations. Self-compassion gives us the strength to keep going, even when we don't feel strong, because we know that we're worthy of love and understanding, regardless of our circumstances. Another crucial aspect of emotional resilience is developing a support system. Although emotional resilience is about our internal strength, having a network of people we can lean on during tough times is invaluable. Close friends, family, or even mentors can provide perspective, encouragement, and support when we need it most. Being resilient doesn't mean we have to face every challenge alone. It means knowing when to reach out and accepting help when we need it. By sharing our burdens with others, we relieve some of the emotional weight we carry, which allows us to regain our strength more quickly. Furthermore, when we have people who believe in us, it reinforces our own belief in ourselves, making us even more resilient in the face of future challenges. Developing resilience also involves setting realistic expectations. People often struggle emotionally because they set perfectionist standards for themselves, expecting that they should always succeed, always be strong, or never make mistakes. These unrealistic standards only add to the stress of an already difficult situation. Emotionally resilient individuals, however, understand the importance of flexibility. They know that life doesn't always go as planned, and that setbacks and failures are part of the journey. By adjusting their expectations and focusing on progress rather than perfection, resilient people are better equipped to cope with difficulties. This flexibility allows them to adapt and keep moving forward, even when things don't turn out exactly as they had hoped. Finally, resilience is bolstered by gratitude. When we focus on the things we're grateful for, even in the midst of hardship, it shifts our perspective and reminds us of the positive aspects of our lives. Gratitude doesn't erase challenges, but it does provide balance, helping us see the good that exists alongside the difficulties. Practicing gratitude helps us build a resilient mindset by reinforcing our sense of hope and optimism. Emotionally resilient people often take time to reflect on the things they're thankful for, especially during tough times, because it strengthens their resolve to keep going. This practice fosters a resilient attitude, helping us face difficulties with a sense of balance and a positive outlook. In conclusion, developing emotional resilience is a multifaceted journey that strengthens us from the inside out. By understanding and accepting our emotions, regulating our responses, practicing self-compassion, and surrounding ourselves with support, we build the ability to withstand life's challenges. Setting realistic expectations and maintaining a sense of gratitude further reinforce our emotional resilience, helping us see each setback as a stepping stone to greater strength. Emotional resilience is not a destination but a continuous process of growth, a practice that becomes easier with each challenge we face. As we cultivate resilience, we're better able to navigate the storms of life, emerging from them stronger, wiser, and more grounded. Embracing emotional resilience allows us to stay true to ourselves and face the future with courage, knowing that no matter what happens, we have the inner strength to stand firm and continue forward. Setting personal boundaries and standards is a critical aspect of building a life aligned with our values, priorities, and overall well-being. Boundaries are the limits we set with others to protect our emotional, physical, and mental health, while personal standards are the expectations we set for ourselves regarding behavior, goals, and interactions. Together, these elements create a framework that guides our actions, strengthens our self-respect, and supports our overall happiness. However, establishing boundaries and standards can be challenging, especially when we fear disappointing others or going against societal expectations. Yet the process of defining and upholding these boundaries is empowering and essential to living an authentic, fulfilling life. The foundation of setting boundaries and standards begins with self-awareness. To establish meaningful boundaries, we need to understand what truly matters to us, our values, needs, and limits. This awareness comes from reflecting on past experiences, identifying situations that made us feel uncomfortable or disrespected, and understanding our emotional triggers. For instance, if we often feel drained after social gatherings, it might indicate a need for boundaries around how much time we spend in social settings. If we notice a pattern of accepting tasks or favors that we don't have the time or energy for, this might reveal a need to set boundaries on how much we're willing to give to others without compromising our own well-being. Becoming aware of our needs allows us to create boundaries that protect our energy and allow us to thrive. Another key aspect of boundary setting is recognizing that boundaries are not selfish but necessary. Society often encourages people to put others' needs before their own, promoting self-sacrifice as a virtue. While caring for others is important, consistently putting others first at the expense of our own needs leads to burnout, resentment, and a loss of self-respect. Setting boundaries, therefore, is not about keeping people out or prioritizing our needs above all else. It's about maintaining a healthy balance that enables us to care for ourselves so we can be our best selves in our relationships and responsibilities. Boundaries allow us to engage with others from a place of fullness and authenticity rather than depletion. In fact, when we're clear about our limits, we're more present and effective in our connections with others, creating healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Once we recognize the importance of boundaries, we need to communicate them effectively. This often means having conversations that feel uncomfortable at first, especially if we're not used to asserting our needs. Effective communication involves being direct but respectful, explaining why a certain boundary is important to us without feeling the need to justify or over-explain. For example, if we need time alone after work to recharge, we might tell friends or family, "I need some quiet time in the evening so that I can recharge. After that, I'd love to spend time together." Being clear, concise, and kind helps others understand our needs, making it easier for them to respect our boundaries. Setting boundaries may feel challenging initially, especially if others are accustomed to us being constantly available, but consistent, honest communication is essential to establish these limits. In addition to boundaries, setting personal standards plays an equally vital role in living a life of integrity and self-respect. Personal standards are the expectations we set for our own behavior, goals, and relationships. They shape how we conduct ourselves in various situations, the types of relationships we cultivate, and the goals we pursue. Standards can range from maintaining honesty in all interactions to committing to professional growth, practicing kindness, or prioritizing health and wellness. These standards reflect who we aspire to be and help us stay aligned with our values, even when faced with external pressures or challenges. They act as a compass, guiding our decisions and helping us uphold a sense of self-respect and accountability. Personal standards, much like boundaries, require consistency and self-discipline. It's easy to set high standards, but it takes effort to maintain them, especially in the face of adversity or when others around us have different values. For instance, if we hold a high standard for personal integrity, we may face situations where others encourage us to cut corners or compromise our values. Upholding our standards requires resilience, but it ultimately builds self-respect and confidence. Each time we honor our standards, we strengthen our inner resolve and reinforce our commitment to our personal growth and goals. Consistently adhering to our standards also sends a message to others about what we value, attracting like-minded individuals who respect and support our path. Setting boundaries and standards also requires a willingness to evaluate and adjust them over time. Life is dynamic, and as we grow and evolve, our needs and values may change. This flexibility is a crucial aspect of maintaining healthy boundaries and standards. For example, a person might initially set strict boundaries around their work-life balance, only to find that their career goals require more flexibility. In contrast, they may start with looser boundaries around social obligations and later realize the need for more structure to protect their personal time. Regular self-reflection helps us assess whether our boundaries and standards still serve our well-being, allowing us to make adjustments that align with our current values and priorities. One of the most profound effects of setting boundaries and standards is the boost in self-respect and self-confidence it provides. When we respect our own needs, we cultivate a deep sense of worthiness and inner strength. We no longer feel compelled to please everyone or sacrifice our values to gain approval. Instead, we make choices that honor our well-being and reflect our true selves. This inner strength is attractive and inspiring to others, drawing in people who respect and support us. By prioritizing our own health and happiness, we build a life that is grounded in self-worth and authenticity. In conclusion, setting personal boundaries and standards is essential for cultivating a life of integrity, respect, and fulfillment. Boundaries protect our emotional and mental well-being, while standards guide us toward our highest potential. Together, they allow us to create a balanced life where we honor our needs, values, and goals. While setting boundaries and standards can be challenging, especially if we're unaccustomed to prioritizing ourselves, the rewards are profound. By defining our limits and expectations, we gain control over our lives, attract healthier relationships, and build a deep sense of self-respect. Setting boundaries and standards is not just about managing our interactions with others, it's about creating a life that reflects who we truly are and what we genuinely want. In doing so, we empower ourselves to live authentically, confidently, and with a sense of purpose that no external influence can shake. Learning to trust oneself and one's abilities is a crucial foundation for personal growth, resilience, and happiness. Self-trust is the confidence we have in our own judgment, decision-making skills, and the belief that we are capable of handling life's challenges. In a world where external opinions, criticism, and comparisons are abundant, learning to rely on our own instincts and strengths can be both empowering and challenging. Trusting ourselves enables us to make decisions that reflect our true values, pursue goals that resonate with us, and bounce back from setbacks with a belief in our capacity to overcome. However, this kind of inner confidence doesn't come automatically. It requires active development and nurturing. One of the first steps in building self-trust is cultivating self-awareness. Self-awareness is about knowing who we are, our strengths, weaknesses, values, and passions. By understanding ourselves on a deep level, we gain insight into what drives us, what fulfills us, and what we need to thrive. This clarity forms a solid foundation of self-trust, because it allows us to make decisions from a place of authenticity. When we know ourselves well, we're less likely to be swayed by others' opinions or pressured into decisions that don't align with our goals. We can confidently stand by our choices because we know they're rooted in our true values, not in fear of rejection or desire for approval. Self-awareness, therefore, is the bedrock of self-trust, giving us confidence to pursue a path that is uniquely ours. In addition to self-awareness, learning to trust ourselves requires practice and a willingness to make mistakes. Trusting ourselves doesn't mean that we'll always make the right choice, nor does it mean we won't occasionally fail. In fact, it's through facing mistakes and failures that we truly build self-trust. Each time we make a decision, follow through, and learn from the outcome, regardless of whether it was a success or failure, we reinforce our belief in our own abilities. We start to see mistakes as learning opportunities rather than evidence of inadequacy. This process builds resilience and teaches us that, even if things don't go as planned, we have the inner resources to adapt, learn, and keep moving forward. Embracing failure as part of the journey to self-trust transforms our approach to challenges, making us more open to risks and less fearful of setbacks. Setting and achieving small goals is another effective way to strengthen self-trust. When we set realistic, achievable goals and follow through, we build a sense of competence and self-reliance. Each time we accomplish a goal, no matter how small, it reinforces our belief in our own capabilities. This steady progression of setting and meeting goals creates positive momentum and encourages us to pursue larger ambitions with confidence. For example, if someone sets a goal to improve their physical fitness by exercising 3 times a week and successfully sticks to it, they build trust in their ability to commit to and achieve what they set out to do. Over time, this accumulation of small wins develops a strong sense of self-trust, providing the foundation for pursuing more challenging goals. Learning to quiet the inner critic is also essential to developing self-trust. Many people struggle with self-doubt because of a harsh inner voice that constantly questions their worth or abilities. This inner critic often reflects past experiences, societal expectations, or the negative opinions of others. Overcoming this critical voice requires recognizing that self-doubt is a normal part of growth, but it doesn't have to dictate our actions. By practicing self-compassion and replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations, we can gradually silence the inner critic and replace it with a voice of support and encouragement. For example, instead of thinking, "I'll never be able to do this," we can reframe it to, "I'm learning and improving with each step." Replacing self-criticism with self-compassion allows us to trust ourselves more deeply, building a more supportive inner dialogue that empowers rather than undermines us. Trusting oneself also involves embracing one's uniqueness and individuality. In a world that often promotes conformity, it's easy to feel pressured to fit into specific molds or meet societal expectations. However, self-trust requires recognizing that we are each unique with our own perspectives, strengths, and paths. By embracing our individuality, we grant ourselves permission to be authentic and to pursue what truly fulfills us, even if it deviates from what others might expect. This authenticity fuels self-trust because it aligns our actions with our true selves, allowing us to navigate life with a sense of purpose and self-assurance. When we trust in our uniqueness, we are less likely to compare ourselves to others or to seek external validation, which further strengthens our confidence in our abilities and choices. Another important aspect of self-trust is learning to listen to our intuition. Intuition is the inner sense or gut feeling that often guides us in situations where logic alone may not provide clear answers. While intuition is not infallible, it often reflects our accumulated experiences and knowledge, providing insights that can guide our decisions. Developing self-trust means learning to recognize and trust our intuition, rather than ignoring it in favor of external advice or overanalysis. When we learn to listen to and act on our intuition, we reinforce our confidence in our ability to make sound choices, even when we don't have all the answers. Over time, this practice strengthens our self-trust, enabling us to navigate uncertain situations with greater ease and assurance. In conclusion, learning to trust oneself and one's abilities is a transformative process that requires self-awareness, resilience, and a willingness to embrace both successes and failures. It's about setting and achieving small goals, silencing the inner critic, and listening to our intuition, all of which contribute to a deep sense of inner confidence and self-reliance. Self-trust empowers us to make choices that reflect our values, to pursue our goals with conviction, and to handle challenges with resilience. It liberates us from the need for external validation, allowing us to live authentically and confidently. By cultivating self-trust, we build a foundation that supports us through life's uncertainties and empowers us to reach our full potential, knowing that we have the inner strength to navigate whatever comes our way. Self-trust is not only a path to personal empowerment, it's a journey to living a life that is truly our own. Embracing growth and change is a fundamental principle for personal development and fulfillment. Life is a dynamic journey, constantly presenting us with new challenges, opportunities, and insights. When we adopt a mindset that views change as a chance to learn and grow, we open ourselves up to experiences that can reshape and refine who we are. Resisting change, on the other hand, often leads to stagnation, frustration, and a sense of being stuck. Embracing growth and change means understanding that change is inevitable, and that each experience, whether positive or challenging, has something to teach us. By welcoming these shifts in life with curiosity, adaptability, and optimism, we become resilient, better equipped to navigate life's twists and turns, and empowered to shape a life that aligns with our evolving values and goals. One of the first steps in embracing growth and change is adopting a growth mindset. Coined by psychologist Carol Dweck, a growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication, effort, and learning. When we approach life with a growth mindset, we see challenges as opportunities to improve rather than threats to our competence or identity. This mindset enables us to respond constructively to setbacks, viewing them as part of the learning process rather than as failures. A person with a growth mindset might approach a career setback by asking, "What can I learn from this experience to become better?" rather than feeling defeated or discouraged. By cultivating a growth mindset, we embrace the idea that we are works in progress and that every experience, no matter how difficult, contributes to our personal evolution. Another key component of embracing growth and change is developing adaptability. Adaptability is the ability to adjust our thoughts, behaviors, and expectations in response to new information, challenges, or environments. In an ever-changing world, adaptability is essential for staying resilient and resourceful. Adapting to change doesn't mean abandoning our values or goals. Rather, it involves finding new ways to achieve them as circumstances shift. For example, someone whose career path suddenly changes might use this opportunity to explore new skills or fields that align with their strengths. Being adaptable allows us to remain open to possibilities and adjust our approaches to meet the demands of new situations. When we practice adaptability, we build the confidence to handle whatever life presents, knowing that we can adjust our course as needed. Embracing growth and change also involves stepping out of our comfort zones. Our comfort zones are the routines and familiar situations where we feel safe and in control. While these zones provide a sense of stability, they can also prevent us from reaching our full potential if we become too reliant on them. Growth often occurs on the other side of our comfort zones in situations that feel unfamiliar or challenging. By stepping into new experiences, whether learning a new skill, meeting new people, or taking on a new role, we push ourselves beyond our current limits and expand our capabilities. This discomfort is often temporary, and the confidence we gain from tackling challenges enhances our resilience and prepares us for future changes. Over time, the act of regularly stepping out of our comfort zones reinforces a mindset that is open to growth and willing to embrace new opportunities. In addition to pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones, embracing growth and change requires us to be open to feedback. Feedback, whether it comes from others or from our own self-reflection, is a valuable source of information for personal development. Constructive feedback helps us identify areas where we can improve and offers insights into how we are perceived by others. However, accepting feedback can be challenging as it often points out areas that we may not be aware of or prefer not to address. By learning to view feedback as a tool for growth rather than as criticism, we open ourselves up to continuous self-improvement. This openness to feedback fosters a mindset that is receptive to change, allowing us to become more self-aware and proactive in our personal and professional growth. Another important aspect of embracing growth and change is practicing self-compassion. Growth isn't always a linear process, and change can bring about setbacks or moments of doubt. During these times, it's essential to be kind to ourselves, acknowledging that growth takes time and that it's normal to face challenges along the way. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a friend facing similar challenges. When we practice self-compassion, we become more resilient to setbacks, viewing them as part of the journey rather than as failures. This resilience empowers us to keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow or uncertain. By treating ourselves with patience and understanding, we create a supportive internal environment that encourages continued growth. Another critical factor in embracing growth and change is setting goals that reflect our evolving values and aspirations. As we grow, our priorities and perspectives often shift, which means that our goals may need to be adjusted over time. By regularly reflecting on our goals and making adjustments as needed, we ensure that our efforts are aligned with what truly matters to us. For example, someone who once prioritized career success above all else may find that, after a period of growth, they want to focus more on work-life balance or meaningful relationships. Revisiting and realigning our goals allows us to stay true to our authentic selves, ensuring that the changes we embrace bring us closer to a fulfilling life. In conclusion, embracing growth and change is a journey that requires a commitment to self-discovery, adaptability, and an openness to new experiences. By cultivating a growth mindset, developing adaptability, stepping out of our comfort zones, being open to feedback, practicing self-compassion, and setting meaningful goals, we create a foundation for continuous self-improvement. Change, although sometimes intimidating, is a natural and necessary part of life. When we view each new experience as an opportunity for growth, we build resilience, confidence, and a sense of purpose. Embracing growth and change allows us to navigate life with curiosity and courage, empowering us to evolve into the best versions of ourselves. This approach not only enhances our personal well-being, but also equips us with the tools to contribute meaningfully to the world around us, making our lives richer and more impactful in the process.